There we go. It's a little better. And hello, I'm sure you guys can hear me now. I don't know why I get a connection issue sometimes when it comes to this. So I do apologize for that. And I do apologize if anything's about to happen here. So we're going to take care of something real quickly. Hold on. Yeah, but welcome. Welcome to the first topics on my mind, if you will, filmed a little bit more differently than usual. Um, to say the least. um, but yeah, welcome to the first one as I test something here. Yeah, making sure everything's working. I don't know. Something happens sometimes. I don't know if I press something by accident and things just disconnect or whatever. But yeah, welcome to the first topics on my mind in a while. I mean, yeah, I know I did a discussion video on Sonic. I think I did a. Let me see. What did I do before this? I'm trying to see here. Yeah, I did a Saturday night discussion live stream. You know, you might consider it like a topics thing, but it was just something I wanted to do late at night, just talk about something on Saturday. But this is like the first real topics one, if you will, in quite some time. But before we get into that, I want to basically take a little bit of a page out of one of the newest video podcasts out there that I recommend you guys check out, and that is the Cinemassacre podcast. Yeah, James Rolfe, along with Kieran and Jason, I think his name is, or something like that. Um, they have a new podcast they recently started. I think yesterday they uploaded the fourth episode, if you will, of the podcast. So I would recommend checking that out in the future. It's really good. It's just them just sitting around talking about stuff and going from there. Um, but yeah, I decided I wanted to take a little bit of a page out of their playbook. And before I get into the topics, if you will, at hand, as I check something here, because it takes a bit to, there we go. It just takes a bit for the for the deletion of the previous attempt at the live stream to go into effect. But yeah, I just wanted to take a page out of the playbook, and as I make sure nothing gets tangled up here, just kind of talk about what's been going on. Kind of discuss what I've been up to and stuff. As I drink some root beer here. Yeah, I just want to, and I even noted it down just so you guys can know. I just noted it down. Just kind of talk about stuff, if you will. You talking about what I've been up to in real life and what's going on with the channel. Well, as far as real life goes, basically, you know, it like I said, we're kind of getting back to normal around here. And what I mean by normal, and I do apologize for any lags that are about to happen here, so I do apologize. Hold on for a second. But we're getting back to normal around here, kind of. Like I said in one live stream, the live stream I did last Monday. We're kind of getting back to normal, if you will. And the reason I say we're getting back to normal basically is because of the fact that now, as you could tell just looking in the back here, I can have my door open a little bit when I'm doing these live streams or doing any kind of regular video. I can have the door open here looking into the outside, open as much as I want. Because usually during the summer or during any time my mom's home or she's on a break, I have to keep it closed. Like if I'm going to do a video, which I've mentioned many times, including in the Back to Normal vlog, anytime, I would be fortunate enough to do a video, I would have to have my door closed and everything. And, hopefully, kind of make sure she's not going to, come towards my direction, knock on my door and ask me about something or whatever. And sometimes, of course, as I've mentioned, I've had to be quiet a little bit. I'll kind of tone down my voice a little bit like this. So that way, she's not, suspicious about what I'm going to say, which is why I've been using like some of the mics that I have lately for my, on my camera, on my Canon camera, if you will. I've been using, a lot of the mics there lately to, to do the videos. So that way I don't talk. So that even if I talk low, you guys could still hear me. Like if I'm doing a live stream, like what I'm doing now, and I talk a little low like that, you guys could still hear me. And it's all due to the fact that, like I said, I just, you know, I didn't want to take a chance that she might be suspicious because I love my mom and everything. She just celebrated her birthday last week. What was it? A week ago last week actually. She just celebrated. Her uh, 72nd birthday, if you will, as I make sure there's nothing going bad there. Okay, but yeah, she just celebrated her 72nd birthday, and thank the Lord she's still able to work. Where she's at. She's been working at her job for like over 20 years, same place and everything. She's moved around a few times, but only because they needed help in certain areas or certain locations. But most times, she's worked in the main area she's at, and like I said, she's very, like I said, I love my mom and everything. She's just celebrated her birthday, but she's a very inquisitive person. She is. She's a very inquisitive person because, she'll always be curious about what's going on. Like she'll ask questions, she'll want to know, what's this, what's that, you know, how do you deal with this? How do you deal with that? How do you work this? How do you work that? I mean, she's still learning the, certain things about the apps she has to utilize on her phone when it comes to things. Like, she wants to know, okay, what about, how do I get into my EDD? How do I do this? How do I do that? She's still very, very curious about a lot of that stuff. And, you know, for me, I'm the only one available because we live together. We live in the same household. I'm the only one available to help her out, unless she goes to my older sisters, and my older sister helps her out in that manner. I mean, as a matter of fact, my older sister's the one that finally did the one thing that I was considering or kind of thinking, not considering, but thinking, man, why didn't she have a code on hers? And that's, a code on hers, basically her phone to unlock it. And my older sister, unlocked it for her. So, that was pretty cool that she did that. Of course, my mom finally did tell me the code and everything because, just in case of emergencies, I have to, and let's say my phone is dead or doesn't have any time on it or whatever, because I use Straight Talk. My mom has T-Mobile through my second older sister. Um, I have to have access to it, just in case of emergencies or something. Anyway, like I said, I'm now, but getting back on topic here, when she was here, I'd have to keep this door closed. But now that, things are kind of getting back to normal, as they are, I can finally have it opened and, be able to do this without any problems or interruptions, except for maybe the phone. And, that's about it. But what else have I been up to besides kind of getting back to normal around here? Well, I've been I've been doing my own thing. I mean, of course, as you've seen on this channel, I've acquired some new things. Like I got a music stand now to where I could set up things just like Sean McLean's Aaron Nazarek does with his. When I want to talk about stuff, like one of the videos I uploaded it late last night, very early this morning, basically midnight. Very early this morning at midnight, if you will, last night or whatever you want to call it. I uploaded another long video, and this was basically where I was, updating people on my Sonic the Hedgehog trade paperback collections that I have that I got thanks to the likes of, or thanks mostly to the like of Frank Hill, because Frank Hill is Frank known as It's Frank here on YouTube, had been showing me, had been not showing me, but had been sending me and sending guys like Zara Nizarak and Patrick Butler and others. He's been sending us various things through the mail. Excuse me. That I think he has that I believe he pretty much has a feeling that we may not have the opportunity to get, because of where we live, like the proximity and stuff. Excuse me there again, drinking some root beer. And so what he does is he sends it to us, and it also saves us money in the long run because he's, paying for it, and he's the one that's saying, "Hey, let me do this for you," and he sends it to us. I uploaded that one yesterday, and I uploaded a couple of others, as well as I uploaded some fan vids that I had not. Here's what's crazy about the fan vids you guys saw yesterday. One of them might already be on here. For all I know, but I just re-uploaded it because I got it off Dailymotion, my Dailymotion account, that is. But basically, the ones that I uploaded besides the hero one were You're the Inspiration, Unchained Melody, and Live to Rise. And the reason I uploaded those, and I mentioned in the description that I did these 9 to 12 years prior originally, was because 9 to 12 years ago, when I tried putting these on here on YouTube, nobody could see them. Nobody could see these fan vids that I made. All because at that time, YouTube was going through a situation with WMG, UMG, and SME due to the fact that, they weren't getting any kind of compensation for the usage of the music. And thankfully, now that a decade has passed and things have worked out, things are getting more easier to do. For some odd reason, my Speed Me Up video is, where I had to take that down and have to recreate that possibly down the line due to the fact that they basically blocked that music. Or they blocked that one worldwide, and I don't know why. I don't know why they did it, but, they did it. They blocked it worldwide, and it's just something that really surprised me. But yeah, it's one of those situations to where, it's just one of those situations that more time you let pass, the more easier it gets to upload a video or something like that you had to put elsewhere beforehand, and having a Dailymotion account for about over a decade now or so has come in handy. I mean, I don't upload there that much, but as well as I don't upload that much on my Vimeo account, but still they're there just in case stuff end up being a little wonky, if you know what I mean. But yeah, I uploaded those, and thankfully nothing's happened yet. Not saying it will, but thankfully nothing's happened yet. The only downside that a lot of people would complain about is the fact that YouTube won't let us, even though we're the ones that create these fan vids or PMVs, pony music videos, or AMVs, animated music videos, anime music videos, whatever you want to call them. Even though we put effort into creating them, we can't make money off them either due to the music or the imagery, or if not both. Like, they'll still be playable and everybody could see them and comment on them. We just can't make money off them because, as I said before, we're not the ones basically that originally released and created that music or the imagery we're using. Mostly like, from cartoons or live action or whatever the case may be. So, yeah, that's the only downside. And hopefully maybe, and I know I'm not alone in saying this, hopefully maybe down the line, YouTube, Google, if you will work something out to maybe, instead of, not allowing us to monetize, off our creations, that maybe they'll allow us to do it, but it'll be in that sharing monetization. Like, when you upload something and then instead of saying on or limit or limited availability or whatever, it'll say sharing. And basically what that means is you're sharing the monetization with somebody else. Like, you're making money off it, but the other person's making money off it. So maybe YouTube, Google down the line will work something out with a lot of the record labels and studios out there and say, hey, look, you're making money off this no matter what. Why not we work something out and you can make, part of the money and these people can make a little bit of money. Like basically it doesn't have to be 50-50. It could be like 75-25, like 75 in their favor, 25 in ours. But still, let us make something off of it. And I think we'd be fine with that. But besides that, everything else has been okay. I mean, for my mom's birthday this past week, at the suggestion of my older sister, I went over to the Knob Hill over here, which is part of the Rayleigh's Corporation, and bought some fried chicken, some good fried chicken, basically equaled it out in the pieces, if you will. And I also bought a little bit of a strawberry blueberry cake. Basically, it's real strawberry and real blueberry on top of the cake for my mom. And she's not much of a big cake eater. So she's just told me, you go ahead and you eat it. It was basically saying it was a nice gesture on my part. So, so I did that. So I've been eating that cake as well, so it doesn't go to waste. And it's good. It's pretty good. I'm surprised my mom hasn't had a piece of it yet. I don't know if she'll have a piece of it now since I've had it since it's been in the fridge for about a week, but it's still eatable. It's still edible, if you will. So, yeah, I'm enjoying it, and I can't say any more than that. For her birthday, of course, because I didn't get her anything on Saturday because not this past Saturday, but a week ago, this past Saturday, was it a week? No, wait, what was it? No, it was actually a week. Yeah, it was a week ago this past Saturday. That's what I'm trying to say. It was basically on the, I think it was on the 14th, I believe. Yeah, it was on the 14th. Was it the 14th? Let me check, guys. Hold on. I want to make sure I get this right. No, it was the 21st. It was the 21st because we celebrated a lot of birthdays over the past 3 weeks, from the 7th or the past 3 Saturdays besides last Saturday. It was it was crazy. I'll say that it was crazy because what happened is that my mom basically had to work. She went back to work on the 23rd. My sister's birthday was yesterday, but we celebrated it 10 days earlier. And then my niece's birthday, we celebrated. It was just originally we kind of did like a small celebration on her actual birthday at her mom's house in Patterson. And then we did another celebration with her and, for her and her mom and my mom, basically her grandmother and my sister on the 21st. So we had Saturday after Saturday after Saturday's worth of birthdays. Like on the 7th, as I mentioned, we went to Monterey for my third oldest nephew's birthday. And then the week after, on Saturday, we were at the, the VBA, the Valley Builders Exchange, where my niece's fiance sister works. And she, my niece's fiance sister, was able to get that place for us to have the party at. And then on the 21st, we went to Michael's Pizza and Bar and Grill in Modesto and celebrated some birthdays there. So we had birthday weekends almost back to back to back to back. And my mom's was, like I said, a week ago this past Wednesday. So what I did, basically, like I said, at the behest of my sister, is I went and got the cake. I got the fried chicken. But I also, the day before, went out, got my mom a card, and I got my mom a $25 Kohl's gift card. And on top of that, I also got her $20. I also gave her $20 to use whatever she needed, mostly like for gas or whatever. And then besides that, I also got her 2 copies, a CD copy and a vinyl copy, LP copy of the George Harrison All Things Must Pass 50th anniversary release, which was released by his son in his family in memory of his dad, as well as to celebrate, like I said, 50 years of the album's existence. And it's basically patterned or designed almost like the original release, but it's got a lot more contents involved in it, if you will. So yeah, I did that last Wednesday. And just to let you guys know, super chats are open if you want to donate. But like I said, I did that last Wednesday. And then that was my Google went off. I don't know why I did that. Um, sorry, sorry about that. The Google Mini went off. It does that at times. I don't know why. But anyway, getting back on topic. Um, like I said, getting back on topic here. Basically, I did that and everything. For my mom. Basically, like I said, I got her that and everything. She was appreciative of it. She was surprised of how much it cost. Both of them on their own when I got them, but you know, she's appreciative of it. And after that, she just spent the rest of the week, coming home from work, relaxing, doing her thing. I ordered pizza this past Saturday, and this here's the thing about the pizza deal. So Mountain Mike's Pizza, I'm sure a lot of you know what that one is, especially who live here on the West Coast. From California, Oregon, Washington, all the way up to Utah and Arizona and all that. I'm sure you know what Mountain Mike's Pizza is. And they're good pizza. They're really good pizza. So I ordered the. Um, I thought I was going to order the Everest, but what happened is because Mountain Mike's had been basically updating their, online site, their web page, if you will, so you can order online from there. And usually the Everest is right below the option to create your own, right? Which is over. They call it the Everest, but it's over. But it's basically a combination. So it's under there, or usually it's under there. But instead, this time they put the. I think one of the newest pizzas, the sizzling bacon pizza. So I looked at that. I'm thinking it's the Everest because it costs the same, but it's not. But we decided to try it, and it was good. But I'll say this, because one thing about a lot of pizza places that allow you to order online, they allow you to, add comments, basically like, asking them, to add napkins, forks, plates, if you will, or to, keep or to do this or to do that. So one of the things I asked them to do when I was adding on certain things, taking off certain things, adding on for the pizza, I asked them to keep the vegetables fresh. I told them, please make sure the vegetables are fresh because the last time we ordered a pizza, which was the Everest, the olives were not fresh. It's like they just used what was left of the olives that had been sitting there and put them onto the pizza. That's what my mom said. So we took I took the olives off on this one, even though it was the bacon one, and the jalapenos were added on. And I think because I said make sure they're fresh, they gave us some very fresh jalapenos on that pizza because I'm not trying to sound disgusting here, but I'll tell you, that old saying of it goes in one end, out the other. Yeah, that's more than true when it comes to the jalapenos they added onto that pizza because it really gets to you, really, gets to you when you eat it and everything. And you literally have to have stuff like this, or water, or have some kind of coolness factor like an ice cream, a cake, or maybe in my case yesterday some potato salad to cool it off a little bit because even though it'll still be burning when it comes out the other end, not to sound disgusting, no offense here, but yeah, yeah, you really want to be prepared for that kind of stuff. And then on top of that, my mom went to my older sister's house because my older sister and her husband went to Vegas for her birthday, which was yesterday, which they should be coming home from today. And my niece went over there with her fiance, and they stayed there, I think, for the weekend at least, because it gives them a little bit of privacy and also kind of gives them a bit of an idea of what it's like to live in their own place, even though they're just living and watching over the place that the she used to live in with her mom before she moved out and all that. So, long story short, my niece made some jambalaya stuff, and she sent some home with my mom, and I tried it. and I thought it was good. I even took a picture of it, texted to her, and thanked her for it. And she said, no problem. She appreciated the text back and the thank you. But the one thing she told my mom to advise me about when I would eat it is to take it slow, because if I rush through it, like if I hoof it down kind of deal, it's basically gonna tear up it's gonna tear up your stomach. It's gonna mess you up basically. So I took my time with it because it's jambalaya stuff. It's basically, no offense when I say this, Louisiana flavor. And Godspeed to a lot of those in Louisiana right now recovering from Hurricane Ida. You guys are gonna get through this. Trust me. You guys are gonna get through this. No problem whatsoever. No matter what, you guys are gonna get through it. But yeah, it's just it's one of those situations to where basically I had to be careful with it, and I was careful. It was spicy. You could definitely feel the spice in it, so I was careful. I was careful with it, and I thought it was good. And I told her, "You need to make more of this. You need to make more of this down the line." But besides that, not really much going on. After that, not really much. Just did what we had to do. Just doing what we have to do. Just keeping cool. Relaxing and everything. And as far as my channel goes, obviously I didn't make as much money this past August, last month, August, which ended yesterday, as much as I thought I would, unless they're still tallying it up, and we'll see what the result is in the end. But I'll say this, come October, I've got a feeling that's going to be a pretty decently sized, a pretty decently sized check, if you will, come October 21st. And the reason I say that is because if I made basically close to 90 last month, then I could probably hit 100 at least here, maybe. Not saying I will, not saying I won't, but we'll see what happens. So yeah, that's what I've been up to anyway, though. That's what I've been up to and what's been going on here. And I know I've been going on for almost a half hour talking about that before getting to the actual topics. So with that in mind, now that we're at 27 minutes and 35 seconds, let's get into the topics. And the 6 topics we are going to talk about today are the schedule for Dark Side of the Ring's second half of its 3rd season has been released. We'll talk about that. And, basically, what is scheduled to come on to kind of mid-season premiere, and, go from there. The second one we're going to talk about is Biden and Harris's future after quote unquote ending the war in Afghanistan, bringing the troops home, if you will, pulling them out. Number 3, we'll talk about what college football bowl games, will be added to the CFB playoff, the FBS playoffs, if you will. Should the playoffs expand from 4 teams to 6 or 8 teams? Number 4, we'll talk about should IDW Comics do the same thing with Archie Sonic Comics that they did with Archie's TMNT Adventures, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Adventures, and that's release them in trade paperback form collections for fans and readers to buy. Number 5, we'll talk about several regions in several states basically we'll talk about number 5. We'll talk about several regions in several states to start requiring proof of vaccination to enter events. And we'll ask the question of why, and also try to ask for how long this might be. And then finally, number 6, will My Little Pony: A New Generation, the movie, the follow-up special, and the series spark interest in My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic for newer fans, and reinterest for older fans, original fans of that as well. So those are the topics we're going to talk about here. So the first one we're going to talk about is the start off. The first topic we're going to go off here with is the schedule for the Dark Side of the Ring's second half of the 3rd season. Now, basically the first half of the third season ended around mid-June. I'd say around late May, mid-June, and basically they was scheduled. Basically, they did that because they still, in my opinion, had to work on, edit, and finalize a lot of the episodes that they had planned for the rest of the season. So they needed to take a break. And now, recently, they've come out and released a trailer for the second half of the third season and what else they're going to be covering. And the third season comes back September 16th. So so basically here we have the skit. I don't know who that was. Wrong number. I think it's some prank callers and stuff. So like I was saying, here we have the schedule basically for the second half of the third season of Dark Side of the Ring. You know what they're going to start with, what subject they're going to start with, and go from there, and what they're going to end with. So the first episode to start off the second half of the season will be The Plane Ride from Hell. That's right. Basically, the description for that is this: a private 757 flight descended into a nightmare of intoxication. Oh, okay, let me reread that. This is a synopsis for the September 6th, or September 16th. Let me get my glasses if I can get them here. Sorry about that. Make sure the mic's working on there. Okay. There we go. Just want to make sure you guys can hear me better. But anyway, getting back onto the situation here. I don't want to do that. Let's get out of there. Okay. All right. So the first one on September 16th will be, and this is going to be the first episode of the mid-season premiere. The first one they're going to talk about, the first subject they're going to talk about, is the plane ride from hell. And this is the synopsis they give for the plane ride from hell. A private 757 flight descended into a nightmare as intoxicated wrestlers clashed with the flight crew, erupting into one of wrestling's most infamous scandals. Now, basically, what that is about is WWF. We have these or used to have these one-off pay-per-views in England, right? And this one, I think, has to deal with the insurrection pay-per-view when they were coming back from that. And apparently the wrestlers became so wasted and intoxicated and stuff like that, and started acting in different ways and just out of their mind kind of perspective, that it made headline news. Not just headline wrestling news, but headline news, period. So, they're going to be talking about that, and they got people like JR talking about it. I think they got Rob Van Dam on there talking about it. They got plenty of people they found that were part of that were there on that flight, actually, that know about what happened and are going to be, that they interviewed and are going to talk about, from the firsthand experience, what happened. And I think they even got some of the people that worked on the flight, like the attendants, like the attendees, or the flight attendants and all that. They're going to be talking to them as well. So that's going to be interesting to hear. And welcome to those that are just tuning in right now. Super chats are open if you guys want to donate. That's up to you. Also, like the live stream and the video. Let's get the view count up, guys. Let's get it up. All right. So that's going to be the September 16th mid-season premiere of The Plane Ride from Hell, which are going to be the first one they talk about on the return of the series. All right, the following week on the 23rd, they're going to talk about the double life of Chris Canyon. And what this says in the synopsis for that is, in a culture that celebrates machismo and negative pay stereo or let me reread that. This is a synopsis for the 23rd episode, which is called The Double Life of Chris Canyon. It says, for the synopsis for that, it says, in a culture that celebrates machismo and negative gay stereotypes, wrestling innovator Chris Canyon kept his own sexuality a closely guarded secret for decades. And they do have people interviewed for that. One of them specifically is a close friend of Canyon's, Diamond Dallas Page. They talked to Diamond Dallas, about this. So it's good. That'll be an interesting watch. That'll be an interesting watch, if you will. I know some people. Excuse me. I know some people are like, well, why are they showing that second? Shouldn't that be first and be like a 2-hour, mid-season premiere? You would think that, but I think they kind of want to, make it less. I wouldn't say stressful or anything, but I think they want to make it more along the lines less I wouldn't say attenuating, but I think they want to make it less, extend less long. Basically, is what it is. Which is why I'm thinking that these are all just going to be 1-hour episodes, maybe except for the end, for the final one. But we'll get into that when we get to it. So yeah, the one on the 23rd will be The Double Life of Chris Canyon. Then on the 30th, we have Blood and Wire, Onita's FMW. And ironically, if you're an AEW fan, you know that they brought Onita on to kind of promote that match between Moxley and Omega. And then, of course, Onita has been known to, I think, resurrect or try to resurrect FMW recently. And boy, I can't wait to see what they have to talk about here, because there's a lot of history with FMW, and some of it is not so good, especially when one of the people that helped run FMW and tried to make it go mainstream took their own life. So anyway, the one on the 30th, like I said, it's called Blood and Wire, Onita's FMW. It says, after Japan's Asatsu Onita created FMW in its particular matches, or spectacular matches featuring explosions and gratuitous gore, his handpicked successor took his own life while drowning in debt. So they are going to touch upon that. Again, this is a synopsis for the September 30th episode, Blood and Wire, Onita's FMW, which again, this is a synopsis. After Japan's Onita created FMW and its spectacular matches featuring explosions and gratuitous gore, his hand-picked successor took his own life while drowning in debt. So they're really going to get into not just, what made FMW what it is, but also a lot of the dark behind-the-scenes situations. All right. The episode on October 7th will be Bikers, Bombs, and Belgium, Johnny Canine. Now, if you're wondering who Johnny Canine is, if you followed Smoky Mountain Wrestling and you watch it on the WWE Network, which you can find here in the U.S. on Peacock, as well as its own network elsewhere, basically, Johnny Canine was known as Bruiser Belgium, and he was brought in Smoky Mountain as part of Cornette's camp there, and basically also acted like his bodyguard as well. Now, this is what the synopsis says about that. For the October 7th episode, Johnny Canine led a double life as an in-ring brute and the leader of a biker gang implicated in drug trafficking, the bombing of a police station, in a gruesome double murder. So Yeah, they're gonna. So that might be one of the darker ones because it's talking about basically a guy that competed, that on screen competed in the ring, and unbeknownst to people, you know, outside of the ring, was doing things a lot worse than was doing a lot more worse things than expected. Which I'm pretty sure when it got to Cornette became news to him. So that's the October 7th episode. The October 14th episode will be The Many Faces of Luna Vachon. And this is what they say, and I quote for that one. A striking villain in the ring, Luna Vachon was a groundbreaking physical performer who battled mental illness and addiction while seeking to champion women's wrestling. So, yeah, that might be another dark one as well. But it's going to be interesting to see how who they talk to here. I think one of the people they are talking to, or they did interview for this, is Medusa, Alondra Blaze, if you will. They did talk to her, so I know she's one of them. And we'll see if maybe they got Gangrel, David Heath, who was his was in in a relationship with Luna. So I know they probably got him. So we'll see who else they got as well. All right. So that's the 14th. So that's the episode on the 14th of October. On October 21st, we have Extreme and Obscene, Rob Black's XPW. And the synopsis for this, or the synopsis for that is this. XPW merged Rob Black's passion for hardcore porn and deathmatch wrestling. But after he waged a war with federal authorities, his empire imploded. Let me reread that. And I quote: XPW merged Rob Black's passion for hardcore porn and deathmatch wrestling, but after he waged war with federal authorities, his empire imploded. Now, what's interesting is they are trying to bring back XPW as we speak. They're trying to bring it back as soon as I think this month or in the next few months. I don't know if Rob Black's involved with it. I think he might be. I'm not really sure. But yeah, they're trying to bring it back. I don't know if they're going to bring it back as just a one-off reunion deal, or they're going to try to restart it, try to improve. Try to improve where it went wrong. Originally. We'll see what happens. But yeah, that's the October 21st episode, and then the season 3 finale might be the series finale. But for right now, I'm saying the season 3 finale on the 28th of October will be the Steroids Trial, which I think is going to be the 2-hour finale. I think this one's going to be the 2-hour one because what they've been doing over the past last season and what they did at the beginning of this season is they start off with a 2-hour episode and then they end with a 2-hour episode. So I think this one is going to be a 2-hour episode, and the synopsis for that is this. In the mid-90s, wrestling was rocked by accusations of rampant steroid abuse. With star witness Hulk Hogan, prosecutors set out to prove that Vince McMahon was the one responsible. So it's going to be interesting to see who they talk to about that. And from what I understand, they did get the actual lawyer for Vince McMahon to be interviewed for this, which is really interesting. And what's even more interesting is WWE is going to be doing their own take on it as well, possibly around the same time. Basically airing their own take on it around the same time to combat it, which is kind of weird. Which I wouldn't say is weird, but it's ironic because they did something similar with Ultimate Warrior when A&E did their thing on Warrior and Dark Side of the Ring did their thing on Warrior. So it's going to be intriguing to see, exactly, what they do here. It's going to be intriguing to see exactly what they do here with that episode. But yeah, that's basically the schedule for Dark Side of the Ring starting on September 16th. We got the plane ride from hell, the following week, we got The Double Life of Chris Canyon. Then after that, we have Blood and Wire, Onita's FMW. Then after that, to begin October, we got Bikers, Bombs, and Beldrum, Johnny Canine. On the 14th, we got The Many Faces of Luna Vachon. On the 21st, we got Extreme and Obscene, Rob Black's XPW. And then the finale, at least for the season, will be the Steroids Trial. So it looks like it's good. It looks like the middle part of it is going to be strong. It's going to be dark and strong. But the beginning and the end, that's going to be up in the air. They both begin on a strong note and end on a strong note, or they both begin and end on a whimper. We'll have to see. But yeah, the middle part of that though really looks dark. Really feels like it's strong. It's really got some meat to it, in my opinion. So, my advice to you, if you have Vice TV in any shape, form, or fashion, watch this on the 16th. Start watching it on the 16th. As a matter of fact, go and watch it on demand. I think you can watch it on demand, on your cable system. And I think there are some streaming services that have it too. But watch it, and I guarantee you won't regret, seeing it, because it's really, really intriguing, and it gives you more of an in-depth look of what wrestling, is behind the scenes. All right, so number 6. Okay, not number 6. What am I talking about? All right, so now on to the second topic here. On to our second topic. In our second topic, and I do apologize if you hear anything in the background, that's the noon whistle. Believe it or not, Newman is such a small town, it still has a noon whistle. Go figure. But here, number 2, we have our second topic, I should say, we have here is we're going to talk about Biden and Harris's future after, quote unquote, ending the war in Afghanistan by bringing the troops home, or at least pulling them out of there. Now, in case you guys don't know, basically one of the goals that Joe Biden had when he came into office was to get the troops out of Afghanistan. But as we all know, the moment he started doing that, that's when the Taliban basically, took their shot. And, basically what I'm trying to say is, as soon as he started doing that, that's when the Taliban basically took their shot and scored, unfortunately. And because of that, Biden and even Harris are getting a lot of negative backlash, even from those that supported them. Not just, Democrats in Congress and in the House that supported them, but they are basically getting bashed from all sides, from what we can tell, by Democrats that are governors, that are state governors. They're getting bashed by Democratic voters. Excuse me there. They're getting hit from all sides. Despite what the media will say, some of the media, I should say, will try to defend it, while most of the media, even those that did side with Biden and Harris in getting them into office, or them going into office, basically are now turning on them, because they're pretty much seeing that, this proposition, this idea of yours, this goal of yours, Joe, that's going to backfire in your face. And right now it doesn't look very good as far as the future is concerned. Because like I said in one video, basically I feel that, and I still stick with this, the future right now for both Joe Biden and Harris doesn't look good. Because one thing that's always getting reported lately is how the Democrats in the House and in the Senate are getting ready for a major shift in power from Democratical Party to Republican Party. They're getting ready for that major shift, because they know that as soon as those Republicans come in, they're going to have one thing in mind, and that's get Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and if she's not voted out by some extent or something like that, their goal will be to get Biden, Harris, and Pelosi out of power. That'll be their goal. I mean, they will be basically figuratively, they will be drawing up a blueprint of how they plan to, they'll basically be figuratively, what I'm trying to say, figuratively, they will be drawing up a blueprint of how to basically get Biden out, then Harris, then Pelosi, because they will basically be pointing the finger at them for a lot of the screw ups that are going on right now, for a lot of the dumb decisions going on right now. And they're not going to hold back. You could have Pelosi as a House Speaker try to defend and go like, well, this is why we did it and everything. And you can have a Republican speak. You can have a majority of Republicans running that place now, just giving her a look like, yeah, who do you think you're trying to fool? So yeah, basically the future right now doesn't look really good. And like I said, 2022, that's going to probably mark the end of Biden's run and Harris's potential takeover afterwards. Because from a superseding standpoint, we all know that the rule basically is if the president is removed, the vice president is the next in line. And if the vice president is removed, the House Speaker is the next in line, and then so on and so forth. So right now, like I said, unless they find a way to redeem themselves and basically make themselves look good and hopefully, win people over, if you will, back to the side, win back their trust, Biden and Harris's future is not looking very, very good at all. The future pretty much, is going to go up in smoke in 2022. Because like I said, figuratively, you're going to have the Republicans that are projected to take control of the House and the Senate putting down a blueprint, and working out plans in that blueprint of how they're going to get Biden out. Then after Biden, Kamala Harris. Then after Harris, Pelosi. And then hopefully, not have to deal with them ever again. But yeah, right now, because of these decisions that Biden has been making and the backlash he's getting from it, from not just from Republicans, but from all sides, as well as the fact that Harris is not saying a word and is trying to avoid it, which I'll give her credit. Trying to avoid a situation is probably the best thing for her to do right now, because Lord knows she's getting bombarded anytime the press gets a chance to see her. They're going to try to bombard her with questions. So yeah, I'll give her credit that trying to avoid the situation right now is probably the best thing for her to do, especially if she wants any chance of being president after Biden's possibly impeached. But yeah, it's again, it's not looking good. So to me, as I said in that one video, like I said in that one video, 2022 is really going to be a year to where you're going to hear a lot of impeachment news, a lot of it, not just for Biden, but for Harris and then for Pelosi, because they feel that those three need to go. Like those three have no idea what's going on. And 2022, believe it or not, might be historic as well. It might be historic as well because it might be the year that Congress and the House, if they become Republically controlled, might establish a new kind of law or new kind of constitution or whatever that will allow, much to a lot of people's satisfaction, if this does become reality, allow the former president and the former vice president to come back into power. And I know some people watching this or will be watching this will be thinking, that's not possible, Brian. That won't happen. And you might be right. But even if that doesn't happen, believe you me, Harris and Biden, they better start packing up. That's all I'm going to say. Even Pelosi might want to start packing up, packing the belongings, reroute, basically, like I said, what I'm trying to say, and and it's kind of hard to think about what I'm going to say here without being offensive or anything or being critical. But basically, the way things are going, they might as well start packing up the bags, start packing up the belongings, go to the post office, do a change of address. Because unless they can find a way to win people back over to the side, it doesn't look really good. It doesn't look really good at all for them. Because like I said, even those that supported them are now backlashing against them because of a lot of these decisions. But we'll see what they come up with in the next several months. Because after November, Not just, the recall election here in September, but the one in November. Believe me, believe me when I say this, it is not going to be pretty, because those Republicans, if the projections become true, if the projections become true, again, like I said, that after November 7th, they're going to be all coming together and figuratively putting that blueprint together as a plan of action to get Biden, Harris, and most possibly Pelosi out of power, because they'll be pointing the finger at them and blaming them for a lot of the decisions that have screwed up everything in the past couple of months, if not the past year. You know it as well as I do. So, got to give it to God. So as my mom would say, just got to give it to God and see what God has in plan to be put into motion. And if God, still wants to keep Biden in there because he has plans for him and Harris, then that's what's going to happen. That's what's going to occur. But we'll see. We'll see what they do. We shall see what they do. Now let's get on to another topic here. Let's get off of that. Let's get off of that topic. But that's just what I think the future possibly holds for them after, the pulling of the troops and everything and ending the war in Afghanistan. That's how I feel the future looks right now for both of them. But now on to number 3. What college football games will be added to the CFB playoffs, the FBS playoffs? Should the playoff expand from 4 teams to 6 or 8 teams? Well, I think the college bowl games that will be added will be the ones that are already in the cycle. That's what will happen. Because you see, every other year, 2 main bowl games get selected to host the playoffs. Like I think this year, let me check something, and I do apologize for any lag or interruptions. Let me check something here. Okay, let me see here. I'm going to look at Wikipedia, and they're already talking about the fact that back in June they were talking about possible 12-team expansion. But we're going to see here, what this year has to offer. Let's see here. I'm trying to see the scheduling. They got it in here somewhere. It's a long article, I'll tell you that. Yeah, it says that in June basically they said in June, because Oklahoma and Texas went to the SEC, then now they're going to be announced they would be studying an expansion to 12-team playoff, if you will, and that the playoff participants, if they go 12 teams, would be the top 6 conference champions in the college football playoff ranking, plus the 6 highest ranked other teams in the committee ranking, which could include one or more additional conference champions. No conference would be automatically qualified or would be an automatic qualifier. And there would be no restriction or on the conference affiliations of the at-large participants. It says the 4 highest ranked conference teams would receive first round byes. The remaining teams would play each other in the first round at the home fields of the better seeds, matched in the standard format of 5 to 12, 6 to 11, and 7 to 10, and 8 and 9. The quarterfinals and semifinals would be hosted by existing bowl games, with the championship game continuing to be held at a separately determined neutral site. The playoff bracket would be reseeded at any time. So, see if I can find more information here. Okay, future games. Here we go. So let's see. Okay, here we go. So this year, the Cotton Bowl and the Orange Bowl. Let's see. Yeah, the Cotton Bowl and the Orange Bowl on New Year's Eve are going to be the semifinals. And then the following year, unless the expansion starts to occur then, the following year would be, of course, again back on New Year's Eve, but would be Fiesta and Peach. And then the year after that would be New Year's Day, the Rose and the Sugar. And then rinse and repeat the year after that. So the thing is, like I said, they're already planning, excuse me, to go to 12 teams. That's what they want to do very soon. And if they do that, I think the proposition works out very, very well for them. But if they were to expand to just 6 to 8 teams, then to me, basically, the 6 to 8 teams, more than likely 8 teams, then to me, um, games like the Fiesta and the Peach Bowl, which are going to be hosting the semifinals next year, would be joining the Cotton Bowl and the Orange Bowl this year as hosting sites for the playoffs. That's what they would be doing, in my opinion. But that's what I see happening. But if they're going to go the 12-team route, then that means they got to add in an additional game at the end of the season for the teams. But to me, I look at the fact that the teams that, well, not the teams, but the bowl games that are not hosting the playoffs this year, I think would be added on to be part of that. Now, some of you might say, well, how does that help out? How does that help out anybody, right? Well, that's the thing. That's the thing. You could take like uh, let's say the Sugar Bowl and the Rose Bowl, and you could save them. You could save them maybe. Well, they're both traditionally known as New Year's Day games, but if you had to, you could save them for later on and say, the Rose Bowl is going to be on this day and the Sugar Bowl is going to be on this day because that's where the semifinals would take place. Like you could have the quarterfinals in the bowl games that are, that would be, that would be hosting, the playoffs, at that time. And then you would have the semifinals in the other bowl games and then go from there. That's the way I see it. That's the only way I see it happening. So it could happen. Or what they could do is they could take a bowl game that is looked at as a big deal and give it some elevation by saying, hey, you're going to be a quarterfinal game and you're going to be a quarterfinal game. And then the teams that meet up there can meet up in the New Year's Day 6 bowl games that are selected to host the semifinals. And where you go. So, for example, you got the LA Bowl coming up, which is going to be played at SoFi Stadium, right? You could take that and say, we're going to use that, the LA Bowl, which I would look at as the new version of the California Bowl, and I would say that's going to be a semifinal place. And then they could look at something like, let's say, what else is a semi big bowl game? Let's see, what else? Oh, the Alamo Bowl, maybe. You could look at the Alamo Bowl and say, hey, the Alamo Bowl, that'll be we'll do that one too. There's many possibilities they can go with, in my opinion. But I think what they need to do is select the bowl games that they have to schedule and select bowl games that basically take place maybe a week prior to, let's say, the Fiesta and the Fiesta and the Cotton, or the Rose and the Sugar, or the Orange and the Peach and all that to make it work. But I think basically if they take something like, let's say, the LA Bowl or the Fenway Bowl or the Alamo Bowl, if you will, or even this, or heck, you can even say this. You can even take something like, let's say, the Holiday Bowl. There you go, the Holiday Bowl. That's always been looked at as a big bowl game. You could take that and the LA Bowl, if you will, and rotate them with maybe something like, let's say let's say the Alamo Bowl, and what else? What else is a big bowl game outside of the traditional ones? What else is looked at as a big bowl game? Um, you could take that. You could take the Holiday Bowl, the LA Bowl, the Alamo Bowl, and let's see, maybe even the Las Vegas Bowl. Let's say that. Let's say the Las Vegas Bowl. You could use them to rotate basically as your quarterfinals. Like they could start off right now. Like they can start off and remain as regular bowl games now. But if you really want to emphasize, hey, we want to expand to maybe 8 teams, you could take the 8 teams that qualify for that, put 2 of them in the Holiday Bowl, put 2 of them in the LA Bowl, put 2 of them in the Alamo Bowl, put 2 of them in the Las Vegas Bowl, and then go from there. And then after that's all said and done, have the winners meet up in later bowl games. Like have the winners of the Holiday Bowl, or have the winner of the Holiday Bowl, or basically have the winners, I'm trying to say, of the Holiday Bowl and the Alamo Bowl meet up in the Fiesta, and then have the winner of the LA Bowl and have the winners of the LA Bowl and the Las Vegas Bowl, meet up in the Cotton, and then there you go. Solution solved. But if they're planning to go the route of 12 teams, then yeah, that does kind of make sense, if you will. That does kind of make sense that you do a little bit of a tournament bracket, but you would have to do that tournament bracket, believe it or not, during the bowl season, or you'd have to schedule the college football season to start a little earlier because you would have to make room. You would have to make room. Sorry for the pause there. I was trying to think about what I was going to say. You would have to make room to fit in that expansion, that schedule expansion for the playoffs. So you would have to start maybe 2 weeks early in August, like towards the end of the preseason of the NFL. You would have to start 2 weeks early, if you will, around that time frame to fit that in. That's what you would have to do. Or what you would have to do is you would have to have a lot of the playoffs, if you will. You'd have to have a lot of the playoffs take place on the same day as, let's say, Army Navy. Like if Army and Navy, have their game, then you would have to do the playoffs there, unless one of those teams gets in, and then you really have, an issue. You really have an issue on your hands, because then you would have to be like, well, we can't do it on that day. We need to do it on another day. It would be quite a mess. But to me, honestly, I think, they would most likely need to, up the scheduling of the college football season, the college football season's regular season, to begin maybe a few weeks early to really, make room for the expanded playoff system that they want to do. But yeah, that's just my thoughts on it. Like if they just decide to go 8 teams, like I said, the best solution is to take, in my opinion, these 4 bowl games, and I feel are the 4 biggest ones, potentially bigger ones outside of the regular New Year's Six, the Vegas, the Las Vegas Bowl, the Holiday Bowl, LA Bowl, and the Alamo Bowl. Use them because of the sites, they're going to be located at, the venues they're going to be located at. Use them to play host to the playoff teams in the quarterfinals, and then take the winners of those games and have them meet in the New Year's Day 6 bowl games that were selected to play host to the semifinals, and there you go. But if they decide to go the 12-team route, then like I said, the best solution is to probably start the college football regular season a few weeks earlier than usual, because again, you have to make room for those playoffs down the line, if you know what I mean. Unless they plan to expand, the bowl season, much later into January, then that's going to be an entirely different story in itself. But we'll see. We'll see what they do there. But, yeah, it's up in the air. It's up in the air as far as I'm concerned. Again, to me, if they go the 8-team route, best solution, LA Bowl, Holiday Bowl, Vegas Bowl, Alamo Bowl, and there you go. Because again, like I say, you can have the winners of the Holiday Bowl and you can have the winners of the Holiday Bowl and the Alamo Bowl meet up, and you can have the winners of the LA and the Vegas Bowl meet up, and there you go. But we'll see what they do. Maybe this 12-team system might work. We'll see. All right. Number 4. Should IDW Comics do the same thing with Archie Sonic Comics that they did with Archie's TMNT, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Adventure Comics, and that's release them in trade paperback collections or trade paperback form / collections for fans and readers to buy? Okay, so in case you guys don't know, IDW recently, in the past several years, since they acquired the TMNT license, especially with the partnership with Nickelodeon, they've actually been republishing a lot of the classic Archie comic books. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Adventure comics that they had. Well, they've been recently republishing those in trade paperback form. Every issue from beginning to end, they had been republishing. And there's even been talk at times of trying to maybe get the canceled and unproduced City at War story arc that was originally supposed to come out after the whole Moon Eyes deal. There's been talk about probably getting that up and running, as well at IDW, because we see it already with The Last Ronin, which was originally meant to be a story, released in the 80s and the 90s by Peter Laird and Kevin Eastman. And that's finally seen the light of day. So now, the question is, could the City at War, which was supposed to become after the Moon Eyes deal, be the next one? That'll be news to follow and keep an eye out for in the future. But again, like I said, for the past several years, they've been releasing trade paperbacks in volumes of all the issues of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Adventure comics that had been released. And I actually have about 1, 2, 3, 4 of them, as a matter of fact, in my possession. I think I have another one somewhere in the closet, but I have 4 to 5 of them right now. Most of them involve Ninjara, which to me, despite how you feel about it, was one of the best things about the comic. She really brought more life to the story and was really a great addition to the team. But with that said, could they do the same with Archie's with Archie Comics release or run of the Sonic comics? Could they do the same? And I think honestly they could. I mean, we know Archie was starting to do it in black and white form with the big Sonic Legacy books that they were doing, and then they stopped. And I think it was due to the behind the scenes licensing issues, if you will, with Penders and all that. But recently, if you believe what he says, Ken Penders has actually been more willing, if you will, to basically allow his characters to be utilized in any shape, form, or fashion, as long as they could work something out. And I think, honestly, one of the best ways that could be done is to allow IDW the opportunity to work something out with Archie to republish in trade paperback form, just like they did with the TMNT Adventure comics, the original Sonic comics. And guess what? They have more issues they could work with than just than what TMNT had. They have literally, believe it or not, TMNT stopped, I think, around 72, 73. Sonic has basically about 220 issues more than that. So if they can get about 16, about 16 issues, I think, out of this, 16, 17 volumes, I should say, out of it. Imagine how many volumes IDW could get out of the Sonic books, the Sonic comics, and not just the Sonic comics either. You got the miniseries like Sally and Tails' miniseries, Knuckles' initial miniseries, well, several of the miniseries he had as well. As well as his regular issues. You have the super specials, you have the one-off specials, if you will. You have a whole peripheral, of comics that they could work with. And I think if IDW could work something out now that Ken Penders, again, if you believe in what he says, is willing to, allow, um, his characters to be utilized in some shape, form, or fashion by working out some kind of an agreement, I think, it would be the best solution because, you have a lot of people that are new to the comic books of Sonic through IDW that still don't understand why people favor characters of the Archie book, in such a huge way. And I think honestly, if IDW works something out with Archie to do that, to do what they did for TMNT, but for Sonic, and again, because now with Pender saying that he's willing to work something out, I think it would be a win-win for them. I mean, those trade paperbacks, if they were to do it, would be flying off the comic shelves, flying off the shelves of all the comic book shops, flying off the online, flying off their own personal shelves at the warehouse or distributing centers by people ordering them online. They'd be going out the door because because obviously, you know, basically, the realization would be opened up to those at IDW, like, oh, there is a market for these characters of the Archie Sonic. Oh, maybe we should find a way to get them in, or maybe we should put them in. It would to me. It's a no brainer. It's a win win, and I think it would be the best. I think it would be best for them. I think it would be really best. I mean, some people are coming out and basically saying IDW is kind of like this, going up and down, 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 if you will, as far as sales and stock and all that is concerned. You want sales to go back up, you want profit to go back up. Going that route would be the best opportunity, in my opinion. Go that route, and sales will pick up. There's no doubt about it. And again, now that Penders is saying, "Hey, I'm willing to work out a deal in some manner to let my characters to be utilized, even if it's to have re-releases in trade paperback form of all the issues of the main book, the Sonic universe, the various miniseries, the various spin-offs like Knuckles, the Knuckles comic. If he's willing to let this now happen, again, it's no brainer. It has to be done. It needs to be done. So, to me, should they do it? Absolutely. Absolutely. Because you know what? Again, you got a lot of fans that would eat it up. They would buy it, you know, by they would buy it basically by the bulk, if you know what I mean. I mean, if you were to say, if you're IDW and you come out and say, "Yeah, we got a new trade paperback series we're going to be doing, just like in the, similar in the style of what we did with TMNT's Adventures, we're going to do the same now with Sonic. It's Archie with Sonic the Hedgehog Adventures from Archie Comics. We're going to do the same thing same thing there with those issues, and the first couple of volumes are going to be issues 1 to 50 or whatever the case may be." So, to me, I think it's a no-brainer. I think honestly, it's a no-brainer for them to do. So honestly, I think should they do it? Absolutely. Especially now, again, whether you believe the guy or you don't, Kim Penders is willing to say, "Hey, I'll allow my characters to be used as long as we can work something out." So I think the moment's here. I think the opportunity is here for that to happen. And if I'm IDW, I take advantage of it. I take advantage of it, especially if you want people to have eyes on your comic, want eyes on your product. I do it. I would do it. I mean, that's how they got people to get their eyes on their versions of the TMNT comics. Same thing can happen here. So I would do it. I think the timing is perfect. All right. So on to the next subject here. On to the next subject. And that is basically several regions and several states to start requiring proof of vaccination to enter events. Let me reread that in a question. Let me reread that in a question style. Several regions and several states to require proof of vaccination to enter events. Why? And for how long? Okay, so in case you guys don't know, several regions, if you will, in states like New York, California, here in California as well, in other parts of the country, counties, that is, regions being counties and all that, basically they fall into the same category, in my opinion. They've been now, you know, putting out the mandate, if you will, that people need proof of vaccination. They need literally, basically, this, if you will, as proof that they got their shots to go and enter an event. So that's happening, and a lot of people are not too happy about that. In fact, it's not just them; it's government officials like state governors, Republican state governors, and even some Democrat state governors. They're not happy that several of the regions, the counties, are now requiring people to show proof of vaccination to enter events, because they, like the people that want to enter these events and be part of them, feel it's taken away from their freedom. And that does sound like it's doing exactly that. But if you look at it from a safety precaution, they're doing it mainly because it's like, look, you know, you want to be part of this, you either got to submit, you either got to, well, I wouldn't say submit because that's a strong word. And a lot of people have been using that anyway when they talk about this, including my second older sister. And hello to Joshua Sonic. Nice to see you. And I'm talking to the audience, folks. He's asking who I'm talking to. But anyway, like I said, basically, long story short, a lot of people have been using that word because they feel that's exactly what this is. But to me, what it really is just another motivator. It's just another way for them to motivate you into getting the vaccination. That's it. They're telling you, hey, either show us the proof that you got vaccinated, or let us test you and we'll see whether or not you can come in or you can't. And it's I'll say this: it's not going over very well with a lot of folks. They don't like it. They feel it's another proof of our freedoms being taken away. But again, to me, it's just another motivator. And I think that's the one thing that these governments, not just statewide, but locally, they don't understand. You see, you see, it's one thing to say, hey, we want proof that you got vaccinated, but it's another not to understand that there are those that don't want to have to do that. That, they feel that, hey, you have to trust me. Put your trust in me that I am fine. I'm not going to, catch anything, or nobody's going to catch anything from me. So, to me, this is just another obstacle that is not going to go over, is not going over very well with folks. And, and I think they're just going to keep fighting it. I think honestly, they're just going to keep fighting it until what I believe, as I mentioned earlier, the Republicans take over the House and the Senate. And then I've got a feeling, from their point of view, they believe the Republicans are going to be like, look, we don't need to show proof of vaccination. The numbers show that we're above all this and everything. So let's not do that anymore. Let's just trust them and see what happens. Because I've got a feeling what Republicans will point out is, if the numbers of those fully vaccinated outnumber the number, basically, of those that are not fully vaccinated, of not vaccinated at all, then we have nothing really to worry about, if you know what I mean. So to me, honestly, it's just again, another motivator. It's just from the point of view, from the CDC's point of view, from the county and local government's point of view, and even some states' point of view. It's just, and as well as media as well. It's just another way to motivate people to get the vaccination. It's like, hey, you don't want to show us proof of vaccination? You don't want us to keep doing this or anything? Get the vaccination. That's why they're doing it. Now the question is, how long is this going to keep going? Like I said, I think this is not going to, like I said, I think honestly, the length of the proof of vaccination deal, it ain't going to last much longer. I don't think people are going to be very fond of it. I think people are going to fight it. They're going to vote out, especially come November 7th. They're going to vote out a lot of the Democrats, not just locally, but country wise. They're going to vote them out, put in the Republicans, and because they believe with Republicans in there, we won't have to worry about this. So I don't think it's going to last long. I think it'll mostly go to about the end of the year, and that by the time we get into January and all the new officials, the new senators and House representatives that are projected to be Republican, from a federal and state, um, from a federal and state side of things, once they get sworn in, that's when a lot of this will blow over. That's when a lot of this will blow over. So to me, again, the reason why is because, in my opinion, it's just another motivator to get people vaccinated, so that, they don't have to keep asking them this, whether they want to admit it or not. And for how long, I think it's not going to last very long. I think it'll be over by the time we get into 2022. Mostly when like I said, a lot of the new senators and House representatives from a federal and state side of things get sworn in, and projected to be Republican wise, that's when this is probably going to come to an end, because a lot of them believe, hey, if the numbers of those vaccinated outnumber the number of those not vaccinated fully or unvaccinated, then what do we have to really worry about? That will be the thing. That's what I look at. Honestly, of how long I think it's going to be. You need for us to have to show proof of vaccination, and for how and why, this is going on, why it's happening. All right. So the final topic here we're going to get into is, will My Little Pony, a new generation, spark interest in My Little Pony Friendship is Magic for newer fans and re-interest for older original fans? Now, in case you guys don't know, a new generation is the start of Generation 5. The movie comes out basically in, I would say, basically 23 days. It's going to be coming out on the 24th of September on Netflix. And from what I can pretty much project, for a limited time, very limited time, in theaters as well. Because if, other countries are getting it in theaters, I think the U.S. is going to, put it in theaters, or allow it to be put in theaters for at least a limited time, excuse me, if you will. But the question is, obviously, will it spark interest in Friendship is Magic, the previous generation, Generation 4, for newer fans that will be introduced to MLP for the first time through G5, as well as will it re-interest the older original fans of G4 back into G4? And I think since this is supposed to take place in the same universe, but way off into the future, I believe, honestly, it will. Because you're going to have a lot of references and acknowledgments and, flashbacks maybe to G4. And, you may see the characters in CGI form or something like that, either in the movie or in the special that follows of the series. So to me, I think it's going to. I think it's going to spark interest for the newer fans to go and watch Friendship is Magic, which will also be on Netflix. Well, at least a majority of it is. Seasons 1 to 8. Well, season 9's on Hulu. But I believe it will spark interest. And I think the newer fans that will be interested in it or gain that interest will enjoy Friendship is Magic, if you will. And by enjoying Friendship is Magic, it's either gonna do one or two things. It's either gonna make them want more of Friendship is Magic, or kind of be like, if Friendship is Magic can become this, does new generation have the potential to do the same? So basically, it might work both ways. It might make them want more Friendship is Magic, but it might also make them want to see new generation try to try to follow suit in their own unique way, or try to repeat the success, if you will, or see if they can repeat the success that Friendship is Magic had. But as far as reinterest in the original older fans, oh yeah, I think it's definitely going to re-spark their interest in it. I think it's definitely going to spark their reinterest, I should say. I definitely think it's going to. I mean, you already see a lot of the fans like AC Race Best and Saber Spark and Toodles and all them and Black Griffin and Silver Quill and Lightning Bliss and Dr. Wolf already gaining, an interest in the series. And I think it's definitely going to reignite the reinterest in the original G4 series to go back and watch it even more so, to see maybe what references and everything gets dropped in the G5 movie special and series, in the future. So I definitely think it's going to spark a reinterest as well for that, for the older original fans of G4, especially the fans that kind of dropped off of G4 after a while, like Mysterious Mr. Enter, Lily Orchard, if you will. I definitely think it's going to re-spark their interest as well to go back and watch G4 and kind of see exactly what, like I said, what references and stuff, Easter eggs were dropped in the G5 movie special and series that connect with G4. So I definitely see that happening. I definitely see it happening. I see it again. I see it sparking interest for the newer fans, and if you will, they'll get introduced to MLP through G5. It'll make them intrigued to see what G4 was about, and then maybe wonder whether or not, and maybe either crave for more G4, or maybe even not only crave for more G4, but also want to put, want to have, what I'm trying to say is also want to probably see from a positive standpoint G5 try to achieve that same success that G4 did. So I could see it working both ways, like I said, as well as I definitely see the reinterest being sparked, that spark that kind of dimmed down a little bit after the end of G4. I can see it being reignited thanks to G5. I really do. And again, I could definitely see people, just like the newer fans, I could see the older original fans from a positive standpoint, hoping that G5 can probably, capture the same magic, the same lightning in a bottle that G4 did when it was out. So, yeah, I definitely see it sparking interest for the newer fans to check out G4, Friendship is Magic, as well as I think it's definitely going to reignite and re-spark that re-interest for the original older fans, some that still were fans when the show ended and still remain that way, and some that dropped off after a while. I think it's going to re-spark their interest, and maybe potentially have them, from a positive standpoint, hope that Generation 5, new generation, can garner the same lightning in a bottle, the same magic that Friendship is Magic did to be a huge success. So yeah, I definitely see it both ways. And September 24th, I think, is going to be the first step in that happening, depending on the reception of the movie. So anyway, though, guys, that is going to do it for the topics here. As you can tell, as you can read here, that will do it for this edition of Topics on My Mind, the first one in quite some time, believe it or not. Thank you all for joining me in the live chat during the premiere. Thank you all for joining me live, period. Thank you for liking the video. Get those likes up even afterwards, guys. More likes equal more views. And comment down below on what I had to say here in the live stream for those of you that will be watching it post live stream. And again, thank you all for watching. And until next time, God bless. Take care. Like the live stream, the video, comment below, and I will talk to y'all later. I am out. Have a good day.